Hello friends, this is Durga, and sorry for long pause on my playlist of building enterprise data warehouse using Hadoop ecosystem. Today I'll be resuming this series, and as you have seen so far, we have covered. Um, Let me open the presentation and explain what is covered so far. So far we have covered how to create a ODS database using Hive in Hadoop, and then we are actually talking about loading data from relational databases into Hadoop using Sqoop. And as part of it, I have covered Sqoop extensively, and except demonstration on Sqoop export. Theoretically, it is covered. Today we will be doing demo on Sqoop export. To catch up, Sqoop export is the one which can copy data from Hadoop uh, to relational databases. So today we will be covering that, and this is the typical architecture where reporting database will be a relational database, and Hadoop will be used to perform the ETL. And once the ETL is done, we have to copy data to reporting database, and from there you can actually start rendering reports using traditional BI tools. Being said that, let's get into the demo. It will be a quick demo, and these are the steps which you need to keep in mind for the Sqoop export. You need to have a target relational database. In this case, we are using MySQL database, and what I am doing is one minute. So this will explain how to create a report sample database in Cloudera VM. First, you need to log in as MySQL root, and the username is root and the password is Cloudera. So this is the syntax, and it will prompt you for the password, and you can type Cloudera as password, and then we need to create a database. Earlier we have done import, where we have created where we have copied data from existing database out of the box of Cloudera VM. We don't want to use the same database from for both imports and exports. Typically, this reporting database will be completely on a different node or different database server in a production environment, but in Cloudera VM we are simulating that by creating a new database in MySQL, and this is the syntax how you can create the database. So we have the user already, retail underscore DBA, which we have used as part of the import as well. We will use the same user, so we just need to grant permissions to retail underscore DBA on retail underscore RPT underscore DB underscore DB database, which we have just created. So copy it. Whatever script I am executing, if you are following my playlist, you understand from where you can get it. This is in GitHub. You can go to my GitHub account, and then you can copy the you can use this script to copy paste the commands. Flush privileges is just syntax. You need to flush it whenever you do some DDL commands in MySQL. It is a good practice, so I'm doing that. Now I'm switching to the database which is created, which is retail underscore RPT underscore DB, and then I am creating a table, and as the table structure which we are trying to export data into, is same as original table. I'm using this command just to 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 complete the demo quickly. But typically, when you do the export, you will be doing the export after the fact of ETL is done. So, whereas import, you will be copying data from relational databases into ODS in that is built on top of Hadoop, and you will do the ETL. And once the ETL is done, then you will be doing the export. So the structure of the tables after the ETL is done will be significantly different from the structure of the tables which we get from the source. So typically you will not be doing this kind of stuff in production, but here I am just trying to run export, and I am using this simple ctest command to create a table for the demo. In future, once the ETL is done, I will come back to Sqoop export again, and I will do export before doing the reports. So table is created. You can do select star from departments, and table is empty. Now we will open another terminal by clicking on this black square on top, and we will try to run the Sqoop export. And this is the command, and yeah, you have already seen the import command. Let me extend it a little bit so that we can see both the commands. So the major difference is for Sqoop import we will say Sqoop import, for Sqoop export we will say Sqoop export, and then connection details about the relational database are same. So here also we are connecting to the same MySQL database, and this is the JDBC URL. In our case, as we are using Cloudera VM for both import and export, only database name is different. Here we are using retail rpt underscore db, and username and password, whatever is the target, whatever is the user you are trying to connect to database, you should use those things. Okay, so the syntax is same, the values might be different for connect username and password. And then table, we are trying to export table into a MySQL table called departments. So this table parameter will tell whatever we are trying to load data into, and export dir or dir is the directory from where we are exporting the data. So this is the one which you need to keep in mind. Sqoop export cannot understand Hive tables. It can only understand HDFS directories. So this is the HDFS location, and you need to have data in that location, and only then data will be copied. So first let us validate whether we have data in that location or not, and then we will try to run the command hadoop fs minus ls. So if you recollect, Hive tables are nothing but directories in HDFS. So in this case, this is the HDFS location which is used for Hive table also. But what I'm trying to say is, Sqoop only understands the HDFS directories. It does not know whether it is a Hive table or whether it is a regular HDFS directory. Sqoop export does not understand that. So you need to specify the directory from where you are trying to copy the data from, and then here in Sqoop import we have used fields terminated by and lines terminated by, whereas in Sqoop export we are using input fields terminated by and input lines terminated by. So these are the ones. So there is another syntax difference between Sqoop import and export. You cannot use fields terminated by. You can use, but it will not have any effect in Sqoop export if you try to use fields terminated by and lines terminated by as part of Sqoop export. If you Sqoop export, if you want to read data in proper format, you have to use input fields terminated by and input lines terminated by. Lines terminated by is default new line character, so you need not, you can have it or not in for this example, but fields terminated by Sqoop default input fields terminated by is comma, but our data is is copied using pipe. So let us validate that first. And number of mappers. So number of mappers again is used for parallel threads, and the way Sqoop export runs parallelism is a little bit is different, and I have explained as part of the theory, so you can go back and look at the significance of it. And batch, if you want to do direct path load into target database, you can use batch, but keep in mind this is not this will not have any effect in most of the databases. Only for Postgres and MySQL as of now, batch might improve the performance, but other databases it might not improve the performance, but it will not fail. If it works, it uses. If it does not work, it will just ignore that parameter. And I have explained how they are already. So let us run this export command, and before running it, let's understand the structure of the data which is in HDFS. So let us do cat just to make sure that our data is structured in the same way as we are trying to export. If it has 16 GB, and if I have given 8 GB RAM to my Cloudera VM, the performance might be better. But as I have only 8 GB, I gave 4 GB to this, and performance is uh, very slow. But typically, it will not take this long when you run ss-cat command. And if you see, the delimiter is pipe, so the syntax looks good. And now let us try to run the Sqoop export. So as in Sqoop import, first it is also generating code, and for that it is running this query on the target database, which is MySQL. Select t.star from department is st limit 1, so it will read one record if there is any data. Otherwise it will read the metadata of the table, and then based upon that it will create a Java file in the location where we have specified as part of outdir in our command. And once it will create the Java program, then it will compile that Java program, and it will use and the Java program will be used to copy data from Hadoop into the relational database. Even in import, the same Java class or similar Java class will be used to copy data from the relational database into Hadoop. So Sqoop export, it's the other way around, from Hadoop to relational database. So once that is done, now it is actually kicking off MapReduce job using uh, we have 4 files, so it is saying that it has to process four files, but the splits are 2 because in our Sqoop export command we have set num mappers to 2, so that's why it is using only 2 splits. So it uses only 2 threads to copy the data. That we can validate by visiting this link. Copy link address, and okay, I'm not opening up the link because the performance is a little bit bad. Okay, now the export is done, and if you see, it has submitted the job. Let us see whether it will open up now. and yeah, it is not opening up. The performance is very bad on my Cloudera VM. And then you can go to the counters to see how many records are read. So it has read 6 records and the output is 6 records. And Sqoop is a map only job. At least in Sqoop 1 it uses only mappers, it will not use reducers, so you does not see reducers. So it has copied 6 records. You can confirm from this, and then you can log into the MySQL, root -p, and password is Cloudera, and then you can type show databases to list all the databases, and our database is retail underscore rpt underscore db, and you can run select count of 1 from departments. This is the table which we have created earlier, or you can run select star from departments. So data is copied as expected, and that's it. Sqoop export is successfully done, and you need to go through the Sqoop user guide to understand all the other attributes or parameters which you have to use while doing the Sqoop export. I have covered most of the important ones. Sqoop import have a lot more options than Sqoop export because the Sqoop import can copy to HDFS or HDFS directories that are used as Hive tables. So there are some parameters related to Hive, and as Sqoop import can connect to the source database, relational database, and can issue the query, it gives you a lot more options as part of the Sqoop import command. Whereas Sqoop export, it only understands the HDFS directories. It cannot issue queries against Hive tables or any other logical structures that are created on top of HDFS data. It can only read files from HDFS. So yeah, it does not have as much flexibility as Sqoop import have. So it is pretty straightforward and easy to implement. Only things, the main things which you need to keep in mind are import fields terminated by import line, input fields terminated by, input lines terminated by, export directory, and there are some parameters like compression related ones. And also while doing the Sqoop export, to copy data into the existing tables, there is a concept called upsert or merge. Those are the things which you need to be aware. And you can go to Sqoop user guide in Google and click on this, and then you can click on Sqoop export to get all the export control arguments. So if you see, there are very few of them, whereas in Sqoop import you have lot more control arguments. Okay, so that's it about Sqoop for now, and in the next session we will start talking about Hive. So let me see what is the next topic. We will be talking about data loading using Hive in the next video. Till then, thank you. Bye.